My name is Emily Marseille from the University of Exeter in England. On behalf of GWNet, the Global Women's Network for the Energy Transition, I am presenting our next portrait for our Energy Transition Role Model series. This initiative is supported by the German Federal Ministry for Economic Affairs and Energy. We are here today with Katarina Uherova Hasbani, who is the founder of EnRupt, a network for energy innovation with the vision to build energy companies of the future, based on clean, decentralized, and digital solutions. Katarina is driving this transformation by building partnerships between startups and corporations where new ideas thrive and get executed. EnRupt has rapidly become a dynamic builder of energy-focused startup innovation from Singapore and expanded to Dubai in late 2018. Katarina has 17 years of professional experience in energy, from government and consulting in Europe, Middle East, and Southeast Asia. She is on the board and vice president of the Alliance for Rural Electrification. Welcome, Katarina. Thank you for joining us. Let's get started by discussing your journey to where you are today. So could you tell us what your journey has looked like towards becoming a sustainable energy entrepreneur?
Well, it's definitely a journey that had many twists and turns. It wasn't linear at all because I started with a very unusual way for an entrepreneur. I started working in the European Commission right out of university. That was at the time when Slovakia joined the European Union. After that, I spent some time teaching at university, working for government in Dubai, and finally, as I was looking for ways how to make impact in the energy sector, I've realized that perhaps the best way is just to create something on my own. And I just wanted to be part of what will be the future in energy. And I believe that that future will be based not in big corporations, but will be based on smaller, agile companies that are able to deliver the solutions that we need. And as you said, those are really solutions in clean energy, decentralized energy, and digital energy. And I think startups are sources of that innovation. So I was looking at ways how to do that. And that's how I came up with the concept for EnRupt. And here we are.
Amazing. And what would you say is your main motivation? What motivates you in your day-to-day work?
So many things. I have to say as a disclaimer that I am one of those people who, I wake up early, I have a lot of energy, so it just comes naturally. But it took me some time to understand what motivates me, because it's, to a lesser extent, the financial reward. What motivates me, I believe, are a few things. One is independence, my own intellectual and professional independence. Another one is the desire to make impact. And I thought it's an impact on energy sector, but actually it's impact and helping the people that build energy sector. And finally, what really motivates me as female entrepreneur is just helping and making sure that women are in leadership positions in energy. And I personally believe that's something that is very hard to do in the corporate sector. I'm not saying it's impossible, but for me, for example, I just find it much more easier to position myself and to drive that change from the role of an entrepreneur.
You said earlier there was a lot of twists and turns in your journey to success. Could you describe maybe some of the biggest challenges that you faced and some of your greatest successes as well?
I think the biggest challenge that I personally faced was understanding myself, to be honest. I can blame it on the, the way how my situation developed, but I think the underlying challenge all the time is just understanding what you just asked earlier, like what drives me, why I'm doing what I'm doing. And until I got that right, I wasn't able really to focus the work, right? I started with my role in the European Commission because I felt, okay, that's a way how I can work on forward-looking topics. And after doing that for a few years, I felt like, okay, this is not it, right? So I was trying to find something else, and until I really understood what drives me, also that the driver for me is really about working with people rather than working around topics.
So what career paths could lead other women towards entrepreneurial activities like yours?
So I believe that anyone can be an entrepreneur if they decide to do that, right? I think there are maybe different points in life where it's easier or harder. Entrepreneurship can be demanding from the perspective of managing and dealing with uncertainty and risk. What I mean by that is that as an entrepreneur, there is really no safety net. An entrepreneur is head of the company, has the responsibility for P&L, for bringing the revenues, for implementing projects, right? So I can understand that someone enjoys lesser level of risk. So I think any career, whether it's government, which was my case, or corporate, or even research, can lead to entrepreneurship. Find a good partner to do it with, a co-founder, investor, and it makes it much, much easier. So the second condition or the path is to look out for possible partners, for possible people that can support by ideas, by financing, by expert advice, the entrepreneurship journey. And finally, I think the network of friends, family is also very important for entrepreneurs because in entrepreneurship, there is a very little border between personal and private. So having the right support background really helps.
Can you think of any specific skills that women might need to become an entrepreneur?
To be honest, I have a hard time responding to that because I really want to encourage everyone to try everything. I think I'm a big supporter of trying things out and whether they fit. But the type of things that definitely help in entrepreneurship is having a strategic mindset. So looking at what our future, whether in this case in energy, will look like, and just having an opinion about it. I often say, you know, I cannot agree with your strategic outlook, right? But it's important that you have one. The second thing that also helps is to have a practical mindset, being able to execute, implement things, being able to do things like accounting, you know, developing an action plan, you know, knowing how to manage a project. I think that's very important for an entrepreneur. And the last bit is really about finance. Business at the end is all about numbers, right? So any skill set that someone can acquire in the area of finance, I think will help in building a business.
Yeah, great. And what opportunities are there for women wanting to make a difference as sustainable energy entrepreneurs, and what challenges will they face as well?
I mean, it depends what is the impact that they want to have, right? I tend to think about this in terms of technology, business model, and people that make up the business, right? In terms of technology, there are the three pillars that we talked about: developing clean technologies at cheaper costs. That still remains to be the biggest hurdle in developing clean energy. You know, and once we eliminate one hurdle, there is another one that comes up. So once the cost of solar technology, for example, went down, then we started to talk about energy storage, how it can help to deploy solar systems. Now we are talking about cost of energy storage to go down. So we see a lot of startups that work in this area that come up with new innovations in energy storage. So definitely, if someone would like to go into entrepreneurship, I would look into technology. However, doing and having good technology is not anymore enough. I am of the view that a good energy startup today has to combine this type of technology with some sort of digital capability and innovation in business models. So there is a lot of innovation that today looks at ways of adopting artificial intelligence, IoT, things like robotics, drones for implementation in the energy sector. I mean, it depends in which part of it. There are still, you know, so many ways how these technologies are being underutilized. So that's definitely one way how someone can make impact in sustainable energy. And finally, around, I think there is a big area around business model innovation, especially in decentralized energy, in rural communities with deployment of decentralized solutions, electric vehicles, rooftop solar, things like that. Now, these are all purely commercial type of businesses, but there is always a way how to focus on energy, but at the same time having social impact. And that's the whole area around energy access, especially in rural communities or area of helping to provide energy services to populations that suffer from energy poverty. So that I find quite interesting and quite relevant. I'm myself from Eastern Europe, and energy poverty is a big issue in that area.
Earlier, you said that sometimes it could be a struggle to separate work and private life as well. Do you have a recipe or top tips for kind of combining the two?
Well, that's a good way how to put it. I don't think there is a way how to separate it, and especially for entrepreneurs. And actually, I have a coach who I work with. So he always tells me that for entrepreneurs, in fact, the owner of the business is the business. And that's what makes it very difficult to separate business from work. However, as entrepreneurs, I think the major asset is the flexibility. So that's what I try to benefit from. Because I don't, normally work 9 to 5, I can, when I need some time to spend with my daughter, who is now 6 years old, I can take a day off, I can take an afternoon off. I can make it up by working in the evenings. Within reason, because one of the big tips is just, sometimes to switch off and take the time off when it's needed.
And if you look back on your professional career, is there anything you would have done differently?
That's a great question. So I've come to think about this in this way. I think what happened. I don't think I would do it differently. I think maybe there are things that I learned that I can share with others. I have a policy of no regrets. I think the major learning is what I talked about earlier, is trying to understand and trying to understand myself, what I enjoy doing, how I enjoy doing it. And at the beginning of my career, I thought, and we often thought, that this is something that we can think through. It's something that we have to figure it out intellectually. But actually the only way how to find out is to try things. So if there is one advice that I have based on my own experiences, just try anything. Someone comes to you with a suggestion to try a new project, try a new idea, provided you have time and bandwidth, take it, Worst case, you say, okay, I'll try it for a few weeks, for a few months, I'll see whether it goes, yes. You try to position yourself in a situation where if it's not what you want, you can always back out of it. But I would say try as many things as possible, take as many initiatives as possible, especially at the beginning of the career.
Great. And I think this really leads nicely on to the next question, which was going to be if you could share some do's and don'ts that you've encountered during your professional career. What would your major do's and don'ts be for future aspiring entrepreneurs?
So the first do would be get yourself a proper communication training as soon as possible. I always say that if I have done it earlier, if I would have, I think it would have contributed greatly to my career. So if you are at the beginning of your career, just get some feedback on the way you are presenting, how you position yourself in the meetings. If you have some friendly coworkers or a mentor that you can get feedback from, I would really recommend working on the communication skills as much as the content skills. I think it's always good to have business type of either education or at least experience in whatever role we are in. Even if you are in an engineering unit or operations, it's always good to know the financial side of the business. Also, early on, the major do is just to have a presence in meetings, you know, have an opinion, share it. Um, that's the do. I mean, the don't is just, I would say, don't waste time. Don't waste time. Don't give up on opportunities. That's what I've seen a lot of women around me doing, and that's why, I mean, doing an interviews like this and just being in touch with younger women that enter the industry and try to find their way around. So it's important for me to support them and make sure there are more of us around, right? I am tired of going to meetings where I'm the only woman.
Yeah. In terms of governmental framework conditions, is there anything the government can do to support women as entrepreneurs?
Parental leave, have a proper
Yeah.
parental leave for women and for men. I would say, I mean, I am a big proponent of equal parental leave. When my daughter was born, I went back to work after 2 months, which I don't think it's, you know, just physically, emotionally recommendable. So having a proper maternity leave for women and having the possibility of parental leave for the mother is very important. Yeah, we are still at the stage where I think quotas are important for a certain level of executive teams. You know, we hear a lot about quotas on the boards, for example, but just government supporting this type of measures. Though I know that this needs to be differentiated, depends on where we are in development of the specific market. Also, I mean, making sure and facilitating technical education for women. You know, there is a big difference between developed and developing countries. We can go into the details of discussing that. And just generally, I think educating both men and women around the topics related to things like gender bias, it's something that we still have to do a lot of homework on, and where the government can help by integrating those topics into educational curricula early on in the schools, and then medium and, you know, high level education. I can make another list of like 15 things, so I have to stop me. Just creating conditions, I think, for all of us to work together, and trying to address all the unseen barriers and prejudices in a way, right? There is a lot of misunderstanding about how men and women function in professional environments. So that's what I'm very keen on, and I'm very interested in helping.
Great. And finally, if you had one message to give to the future generation of aspiring entrepreneurs in sustainable energy, what would your message be?
The message that I tell any woman that I talk to is, if you ever doubt that you can do something, remember that you can. You know, I think anyone can do really anything if they decide really to do it. There are networks, there are resources that can be used to help them to achieve it. So have no doubt, everything is possible, and go for it.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this interview. It's a pleasure to have you and to hear all of your insights. And I wish you every success in the future. And I'm sure all of the aspiring entrepreneurs watching this video will be very inspired as well. So thank you, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.